All right, this comes from a comment that we received on the channel looking for some more information on how I set up for hybrid hunting. So I'm gonna go through a quick demonstration on that today with you guys. To save some time, I've already preset the tree, but I'm a lefty, so I have this set up on my strong side shot. So I have the bow here anticipating a shot on this side. A weak side shot would be on the opposite side. So I have my linesman on. I'm gonna go ahead and just toss this around the tree, kind of close to like chest height, if you will. Just feed that through. So we're good and snug there. And I'll actually push up my Prusik all the way up to the top, kind of as a stopper knot. And then that'll kind of allow me to clip in. Now I'm running the Minimalist from TX5. And this is kind of like a hybrid saddle tree stand combo deal. So I'll go directly into that. And then now I can kind of let out my line and start to put load into this saddle here. I'm just gonna make some adjustments here on the bridge where that's starting to pull in. So now I can kind of detach this, and then I can kind of let that dangle off the tree. So now I'm here, you'll see it's really in this packed mode. So it's really tight to the body. And what you'll do, there's two bungees on the sides here that'll kind of deploy your saddle. And then this will drop down. So now I can kind of comfortably sit in a leaning position here. And again, everything is set up for a strong side shot. All right. Now, a couple things. I do use an Osmo. It's kind of like a gimbal style 4K second angle, so it's on face detect right now, so it'll actually track me as I move around the tree, so I don't have to worry about, you know, missing a shot. So, and with self-filming, I also have a pack here, and this carries camera equipment and the his strap and a couple other things, the kill kit, obviously my camera arm. And as a neat little package, again, this is also by TX5. And then I have a his strap here, and this just allows you to move the bow around the tree wherever you want. And you can kind of set up for whatever tree or whatever scenario just by hanging in your bow here. I really like the option to be able to move the bow around as needed. If I need it closer or tighter, it's not really fixed. I have the opportunity to move everything around the tree. Now the big thing is with saddle hunting, you're on a smaller platform, and so you're tighter to the tree. And so, you know, it's important that with the stand, you're actually further away. So running a 0.5 with a standard seat post is really one of the smallest tree stands that you can get into for how lightweight it is. So you're talking like 6.5, 7 pound setup here on the stand. And this just gives me the ability to hybrid hunt or turn around and sit down, and based off the scenario. So I'm gonna go really quick into the seat. I have this on 2 tensioning bungees that holds the seat in place. And then this will flip up, and then I'm able to lock my knees into a kind of seated position and use the saddle as a seat. So that's important too, because if you're hybrid hunting, you know, you want to be able to accommodate sitting down and actually using the saddle versus otherwise you just use a normal harness, right? So this gives you the flexibility to sit down for your strong side shot. You grab your bow and you can, you know, easily pull off that shot here in a sitting position. I actually do prefer to lean or kind of be in more of an upright position just because I like to stand. So for me, I would much rather not be in this seated position, but more here. And then, I can, move around the tree some this way. You're not gonna have a ton of side pressure that you're gonna be able to use on this stand. But as you can see, like, you can get a little bit of kick out if you really get to the far edge, but you can still maneuver around the tree. And I use this because the biggest benefit for saddle hunting is using the tree as a blocker. So if I'm anticipating deer movement to come in here, if I wasn't in a saddle, I'd be on the opposite side of the tree facing them. And you might put yourself in a vulnerable state where they might pick you off before they come in for a shot. So I really like to use the tree to my advantage. So this allows me to use this as a blocker. I can grab my bow, I can get ready to draw, and as they come in, shoot. So that's the big benefit to this. I also prefer to lean here. So, if I am kind of like seated right here, it's very easy. I can grab my bow, I can get ready to draw, and, I can really use my legs, my body, not be in the seated position and kind of lock there if you need to rotate through the shot. So that's the biggest benefit, I think, for me. Now, when you're locked in here, I use a Prusik mainly because you can make these minor adjustments. So if you really want to sit down in that 90-degree angle, you can. And this will take a lot of pressure off your feet. So if your feet are kind of getting cold or numb, you can kind of kick these back here too and take all of the pressure and put it into your knees. And so this again just allows you to sit comfortably. And with this seat, typically on a tree, when you're saddling, it's curved. So your knees kind of have to be in tighter, and they also might want to lean one way or roll on the tree. With the seat, it's very flat surface. So no matter the diameter of the tree, it's going to give you that structure that you need where you can kind of, widen your kneecap some, and you can really lock into this seat and sit very comfortably without any issues. So again, that's another piece where you just use the pre-existing equipment to your benefit of using the actual seat versus having to bring in knee pads or a cushion on the seat. Any of that stuff is gone. So clearly I'm a less is more guy, and I'm always looking to take in less and just be more minimal with my approach. So this serves a great purpose for me, and this cushion is really thick too. So it's, I would say, close to maybe 2 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches, 2 inches, somewhere in there. And this just gives you a lot of support in the knee, and you don't feel any metal. And certainly, the pressure is kind of dissipated into that cushion, and it's very comfortable. You can sit here, and I'm kind of locked in, right? So a big thing with saddle hunting is, like, if you're in a more of a leaning position, you can kind of sway and rotate and move. With this, it doesn't really take much effort because a lot of your load is being planted into the stand and into the tree. So it's very firm and secure and tight. Now, the big issue is, if you need to pivot, let's say you set up in a bad tree that wasn't really conducive to where the deer were coming from. Let's say they're backdooring you. You have that ability to really adjust. So I can flip my seat back up into a seated position, and I can turn and sit down in the saddle. So I'm here, or not in the saddle, but in the tree stand. So I can sit here now comfortably, and if I have deer coming in, I can be ready and prepared for that shot if they do backdoor me. Now the issue is my bow is behind me. So the biggest benefit here is using the extended sidekick bow mount off the front. And this will just allow you to set your bow directly in front of you. And I use the extended sidekick because I'm using a 0.5, which is a smaller stand. So this allows me to still have my feet or toes off the front edge and still have clearance from my feet to the bow so I don't accidentally kick it and knock it over. So here, again, if you're in a seated position, you know, you have something coming in, you can grab your bow, it's right out in front of you, you can draw and you can shoot, you can stand up, you can get ready to take that shot, vice versa. With saddle hunting, if you have to take that weak side shot, you really have to do some maneuvering, right? Like you see the guys, they do kind of this stuff, and they're turning around on that very small platform, and obviously there's a lot of adjustment and tension that you have to do to prepare to take that shot like that on a very small platform. If you're here, the biggest benefit, especially with shooting traditional, is you have a very large bow and you have to work around that to be able to execute and take that shot. So instead of trying to spin, or you're in a saddle and you're kind of locked into this tiny little platform up at the front of the tree, you know, you have to, there's just more effort there. And especially if you're on a leaning tree that's like kind of cocked towards you, because obviously gravity's going to pull you that way, you have to set up on those trees. You have more adaptability out of a tree stand. If you do want to hunt that, you're not going to have all that leaning pressure pulling into your saddle, and you can simply just stand up out of it, take all that load out of the saddle, and you know, you can take this weak side shot here, right? Like you can turn around, be prepared for the shot. You have plenty of room to be able to navigate and take that shot on that weak side. So, you know, I've been burned in the past on deer out of a saddle, trying to shoot them on the weak side. And I just couldn't get positioned for it, right? Because I set up on a trail that was kind of like this, and it had a primary trail for a strong side shot there and a weak side shot. Well, guess what lane they took? The weak side shot. And I was in a leaning tree and I couldn't position myself because they were moving directly in front of me. And even with the tree as a blocker, it's too much movement to be making in that point of time. Now, I'm caught in a pickle because I don't know which way they're gonna go, but I can't make those determinations, because if I go ahead and try to switch to my weak side and they go to my strong side, I'm kind of screwed. So it's important that you have the option to stand up out of the saddle, out of the platform, into a larger tree stand like this, and then now all of a sudden the smallest platform tree stand that you have becomes very large, right? Like the footprint on this, if you wanted to really extend and get out away from the tree, you know, you can really get out here, you know. So not that I would do this, but you know, there's a lot of options where you can get further out from the tree. So ultimately for me, this just allows me to utilize my equipment, maximize everything. And you know, this is a whole system, from the sticks to the stand to the pack that goes onto the back. It's a meat hauler. It's everything that you would need for, you know, event of shooting, downing an animal, packing it out, whatever. It's all in here. You know, if you're saddle hunting, you're probably trying to take in a smaller pack. It's not suitable. You're probably going to be dragging or heading back to the car to go get a jet sled or a pull-up drag rope or some system, and or a frame pack, and try to get it all out. If I actually do down an animal in this instance, I'm prepared right there in the spot to be able to take that deer out. So this is a huge benefit overall. So that's really the gist of this whole system. So, you know, if you have any comments, or again, you know, this was based off someone that asked how I set up for my hybrid hunts, drop a line down below. We'll take a peek at those, and if there's something that we can do a quick demonstration or video on, then we'll go ahead and do that for you guys. But this is the main benefit here. And the other thing too, on the side, this is my pocket pull-up rope. So really, this is just, you know, am steel on a roll-away kind of system. And so I'm able to, you know, wrap this around my bow, drop that down, and then I can kind of spool this up directly to put that away. And it's very clean little kit. And I just like that kind of lives on the actual harness. And it kind of keeps you from fiddling around and that kind of thing. So these are all like little streamlined pieces. Rangefinder lives on me. I don't like to hang a bunch of stuff on my tree. I know that's kind of what the benefit is of the HISS strap, but I just keep it to the bow only, and I wear everything else because my movements can be very tight here to range before I shoot, versus having to grab all this additional movement out here, leaning and check in or whatever, and then you're kind of tied to the tree to put it back and get ready. This is, you know, same with a grunt tube. I'll have a grunt tube on here to pull in a deer if I need to try that maneuver or whatever. But overall, this is it. This is how you would mobile hunt out of a hybrid setup.